All right, hey, Professor Lanier. We're getting ready to start our interview process. I guess we'll start off introducing.
My name's Dale Twist, Cody's father.
I'm Katie Love. I'm Cody's father's girlfriend.
Well, currently I'm retired, so I that's another portion of the same career that I was in. My career in the community that I was with was the police work. So I was in police work for 24 years, and now I'm in retired. And so you sort of find yourself with a whole other group of guys that you're hanging out with and talking with and involved with day to day.
Okay.
And I am a registered dental hygienist. I've been practicing for 12 years and have worked in various settings. And through college was with one group of my college girls, and then from there on have been in different settings. So.
Okay. We're going to try to make this as a conversation though. We're not really going to be just asking questions. How long have they been a member of this particular workplace discourse community? Is this different than when their interest, experience, or training with this discourse community first begun? And if so, when did they start becoming enculturated to this discourse community? What made you choose the career? Things that you did before you became a police officer?
I graduated high school and went in the Marine Corps. And then spent 4 years in the Marine Corps. But I always had a desire when I was in high school and growing up, law enforcement. And back then I always wanted to be a game warden because I got out of the Marine Corps. I got hired by City of Miami Beach. And immediately you become involved in what you're describing to me as a discourse community. I mean, you're in the academy. You're with the guys in the academy 10 hours a day, and then sometimes longer because you're studying with them and all. So, and you're learning all the aspects of police. You graduate from the academy and you get onto the street, and every new officer starts in patrol. So you're doing day-to-day police work on the street, in a police car, doing all the basic police work stuff. Take towards the guys you like and you have some kind of connection with, so you can go out and you really makes yourself more comfortable on the street.
Yeah, and you can almost count on them to help you out and things. Right. Those are the people that you first call on the radio whenever you have a problem.
Right, and then you start, and when you say that, it's so true, is you start learning people's voice on the radio.
Yeah.
And I may not even call you, but when you hear me on the radio, you know where I'm at, and so you sort of start moving towards me, and vice versa. So everybody
have something maybe a little bit different as to how you became enculturated into your current discourse community.
But mine started earlier because started work. My first job was in a dental office when I was 16, and I was just doing filing stuff.
Yeah.
But I became immediately incorporated in the dental world, so immediately learned the language of dentistry, which is
so it's almost like
a different language.
I mean, it's not it's not like completely opposite, but it's different than your experience because she has been, she's been in that dental office since like
20 years.
You're enculturated, absolutely enculturated for sure.
Yeah.
So what are the common goals of this workplace community? Who are the members in the community, both specific and on a larger scale? And common goals, which members share value, and how the people that you were in the discourse community with interacted to get the job done. That's why you have goals.
Right.
Hmm.
Your ultimate goal is that you want people to have excellent oral health.
Okay.
And so you're there to educate primarily, and then treat any disease that you have and prevent future disease.
Okay.
So that's the main goal, and it's shared by all of the clinicians as the dental hygienists, the dentists, the dental assistants, as well as your front office staff. And
okay, so for us in police work, I was with a large department. It was almost a 400-man department, sworn members. But then you have civilian staff that also work in there, so it makes it a really large organization. Mm-hmm. But it's broken down into different, because it's shift work, it's broken down into smaller groups. And then within each shift, it even gets broken down even further. So, our first goal is obviously law enforcement and keeping people safe and enforcing laws. So it's public safety and enforcing the laws of the state and city shift. And in the very beginning, it was the midnight patrol shift. So we work nights, and you find that every shift was really unique. But personalities are different because of the police work is actually different on each shift. In general, the midnight shift was a much younger shift. We worked a lot harder in the beginning. In the beginning of my career, it was in the early '80s, so we had the crack epidemic, and we were chasing bad guys literally all night long because it was just running rampant in the city, and there was always something going on. You really found yourself doing some progressive police work, going out and hiding in bushes and trying to sneak up on these guys that are selling crack on the streets and stuff to make a difference. But day shift, you're not hiding in the bushes. It's not.
Yeah, of course.
It's a completely different thing.
Do you think that members, like you say, you're saying like as far as like the shifts go, do you think that those members, let's say that were on the day shift versus the night shift, would have different values?
Maybe
a different way of approaching their work or whatever. Because I feel like that would really be. I don't know. I feel like that would make a difference.
I don't know if it's values, but it's because.
But your goals were different.
The goals were much.
Day to night.
Right. The goals were much different.
I feel like you can go about it differently.
Yeah, but the day shift guys weren't tasked with the same things. Like they weren't challenged with the same things so much. Yeah. So you do find yourself, and when I later in my career I was on day shift, you found yourself but you found yourself doing different police work. Yeah. You were much, and it sounds bad, but you were like friendlier, and you were more. You handled instances differently, but it was because of the whole surrounding. Yeah, you're dealing with completely different people. You don't know who the good guys and bad guys are in the daytime. At night, pretty much at 3 a.m. on Miami Beach back then, if they're out on the street, they're not a good guy. Yeah. There was a difference in policing.
Yeah, of course. I think even I know I would if I was walking around at 3 o'clock in the morning versus walking around at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. I would even carry myself differently.
And you have to, because it's your safety is paramount, and you're always thinking of it.
And being a member of this workplace discourse community, are there also members of additional discourse communities? For example, an engineer may work for a certain company, but may also be a member of the Association of Engineers. Maybe even starting all the way back from when you were in college. Anything, just
in college they pushed you to join the Association of Dental Hygienists. I was still a member of it for a long time, but then you sort of, once you get out in private practice and you get with your own little office group, you're not so. Some people still do, but I'm not into that whole meeting with the other hygienist every month or whatever. When you're in private practice, you sort of tend to stick with your own little group.
Essentially, because you work in a private practice, do you think that association made you function better in your workplace? Do you think it kind of was negative towards your workplace?
I think it gives you
good changed?
Perspectives of what else is out there and how other offices are doing things. General dentistry is not, as a hygienist, what you're doing is not going to change much.
Just
as long as you're
in
keeping up with your continuing ed every year, you're not really going to fall behind, so to speak, on what's going on out there.
Didn't do anything.
I definitely had two distinct groups that I with in the beginning of my career. So for the first 13 years of my career, I was involved with SWAT, and that was a very tight-knit group of guys. It was, and it's meant to be that way. I mean, we trained together differently. We had different physical fitness requirements. I think we thought differently, but you had to think through things differently. So as a team and in training, you'd always be running through scenarios. And when the team is really clicking and when you feel really comfortable on a team, it's because your training is top-notch, and you know the guy next to you's training is just as tight, and he knows what you're thinking and vice versa. You can almost read just body language on your team members, your teammates. Their body language, you can tell what they're going to do, and hopefully they're reading the same thing on. I later became involved with the union more, and I was a board member for years, and that's a different. That was more the business side of police work.
Do you think that made you look at your job differently?
Definitely, because when you know the contract, and I believe every job that I've ever had, there's people that are always complaining, wishing things were different, wishing things were better, whatnot. When you know the business side of a contract, and
touchdown.
Yeah. When you know the business side of the contract, you can help a member. When a member starts to maybe spout off about something, and you go, wait a minute, it's right here.
Yeah, exactly.
This is it. This is the rules.
Yeah.
And this is how we have to do it. And the contract was built for a reason. It's for our protection and the city's protection. So it was good to know it. I thought it was very helpful.
Yeah, that actually I think is a mechanism of intercommunication. What types of information or feedback does each mechanism provide, and how do you use each of the mechanisms, and when did you learn to use them?
Oh, good charts, you hit it. It's probably the biggest one. Through the computer, when you're entering your appointment, why did this person call? What's going on? And then that person in the back, before that patient even gets there, already knows what they're looking for.
One of the things they get you in the academy with is the codes. And codes are all for your radio talk. So everything that you do pretty much is by code and on the radio.
Okay. Can you give me an example? What is the code? I don't get it.
For us in Dade County, we use what they call the Q codes. Police say 10-4 and 10-20 and 10-18. We didn't use the 10 codes. We used Q codes. It was more simplified. but we had some Q codes. So QSL means yes, okay. QSM means repeat. The radio becomes second nature, and it has to be, because when something goes
Quicker.
bad,
Yeah.
it's quicker, it shortens time on the radio, and when something goes bad, the air time is critical.
Because it's a professional
Exactly.
environment, you don't
Right.
use the Lexus as much, like with the people you're interacting with, but more the other members of the discourse
Right.
community that you're interacting
Yeah.
with. Who are currently the novices, experts? How have they changed? Maybe like
Oh, I can give you one.
in the police force, it's more of a refined system of moving up, as opposed to your discourse community, where, like you said, a doctor, just from how you work in the office, a doctor could possibly you could like be rewarded and or like get on the good side of the the big shot. So that's kind of different. That's
Right.
it's
And
kind of
in
cool how
ours,
those
it was
discourse
very
communities are
defined. You had to have a certain skill set.
polar opposites. That's
Right.
just a good connection to make. Is there anything else that you guys would like to talk about? Maybe something that you feel that you thought about from one of the questions. Maybe thought like spurred something, but I like kind of responded too fast, and maybe something like I don't know, just something off the wall.
The only thing that I have is like from being in police work for so long, and you're in that tight group of people. Although there's different little niches within there and within that community. When you retire, it's a loss. I mean, you feel it because
it makes sense.
You miss the camaraderie and the working.
Especially like you have all these things that are like almost like a team. Kind of
Right.
like. So,
And even though, and there's a lot of guys that stick together and come together in the retirees, it's a lot less. So you do miss. That's one thing I miss about being in that organization.
Yeah, and it's a long time. So.
With a lot of different people. It's the difference between yours and
Right.
mine.
Yeah.
There's not that many.
Okay. Well, good. So we've wrapped up discourse communities.